We are going to begin this discussion with MS Now contributor Inzamam Rashid. He's there in Switzerland. Foreign policy editor-in-chief Ravi Agrawal, and Josh Lederman, a fellow at Princeton Center for International Security Studies, focusing on global affairs and national security. It's great to have all of you guys with me this morning. Inzi, I'm going to start with you. What concrete progress was really made here? And can you answer for certain whether or not the Strait is open right now?
Well, look, in terms of concrete progress over the last 24 hours here, Antonia, out in Bergenstock, the resort where we've held these talks between the US, Iran, the Qataris and the Pakistanis, we've seen a number of different statements and comments. Firstly, the Qataris and the Pakistanis put out a statement, and then we saw a message from the Iranians, and then more recently, Vice President J.D. Vance giving those comments on camera a few hours ago. And the problem that we've got is that all the messages are effectively showing off different priorities for each nation. So you've got the Iranians talking about the fact that Lebanon is a priority for them and that the fighting inside Lebanon has to stop before they can carry on or go into detailed negotiations and get a final agreement from this memorandum of understanding. And then you've got J.D. Vance, of course, talking around the nuclear program, specifically inside Iran, and also talking a little bit about releasing some of the frozen funds. Let's just go through some of those elements, which I think are important as to what J.D. Vance said and what the Qataris and the Pakistanis said. Vance said he's building mechanism to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, building a mechanism for deconfliction inside of Lebanon, allowing inside the IAEA, the inspectors, to go look at some of that enriched uranium inside of Iran, and creating a process for technical negotiations. Then on the other side, the Qataris and the Pakistanis put out a joint statement in which they said, and this was more about the process of going forward, the mediation side of things. Nuclear working group would be put together, sanctions working group would be put together, a monitoring and dispute resolution group as well. And effectively, the teams would be working in small groups over the next 56 days to try and thrash out some of the technical issues. Now, look, most of the leaders have gone. J.D. Vance still remains here in the Bergenstock resort. He should be leaving soon, we understand. However, whilst all those leaders have gone, there are still teams here on the ground having those technical discussions and are expected to over the next few days. We are now in a situation where clearly the clock is ticking. We are 3 days now into the 60-day period in which the negotiations need to be completed, and we have what seems to be a roadmap in how this is going to work. Just finally, on your point on the Strait of Hormuz, there has been a bit of a gift from the US today. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, in the last couple of hours or so, has effectively said that it's issued a temporary 60-day general license authorizing the production, delivery and sale of Iranian oil. And he said that that's happened as a result of the positive talks that have taken place in Switzerland over the last 24 hours. Just before I let you go, Antonio, there's one final point, and you mentioned it at the top of the program. This could have all collapsed yesterday when President Trump put out this note that he was threatening the Iranians, renewed threats once again. That raised eyebrows here in Switzerland. It almost caused the Iranians to leave here completely. The Pakistanis and Qataris managed to win them round, bring them back on site and have these discussions. And it does seem, I have to admit, that after 9 to almost 12 hours of discussions, there has been a little bit of positivity, a step forward in terms of moving forward with getting this memorandum of understanding and the technical points agreed.
Ravi, I want to get your thoughts on what we heard from the vice president this morning, and Inzi touched on it here, which is, you know, he framed much of this as a breakthrough, the idea of the IAEA being back on the ground, able to look through and assess their stockpile of enriched uranium. But was that not the norm under the JCPOA, the Obama deal? Is it really a breakthrough, as the vice president framed it to be?
No, it really isn't. And I think the administration is trying to have it both ways. On the one hand, it's trying to say that the JCPOA, the Obama nuclear deal, was not a good one, although they exited from it in 2018. So they've criticized it consistently. They've contrasted this memorandum of understanding with the JCPOA and constantly tried to find ways in which it is much better. It is not. And yet they're trying to have it another way by saying that now this is a breakthrough, that the IAEA inspectors are going to be allowed in. And of course, their argument all along had been that Iran can run circles around these inspectors from the nuclear watchdog, and therefore they aren't really to be trusted. Now, the strange thing that we're seeing amid all of these talks is that much of it is actually looking backwards, not forwards, other than the nuclear issue. And in that sense, I mean, the focus has been, as Inzi was pointing out, on making sure the Strait of Hormuz is open, on making sure that Lebanon, which was not a party to the talks and the agreement, Iran, not a party, Israel, not a party to the agreement, that they can make sure the basic MOU does not collapse. And so we're very much in phase one of these talks. And the question all of us should be asking is, will there ever be a phase two? And are we in a circumstance now where, as we saw with Gaza, as we saw with Venezuela, there's a lot of flashy action and there rarely is a phase two? Because in this case, it's very clear to me, at least, that the Trump administration was desperate to get out of this situation of its own making with Iran. It has done so on incredibly bad terms, gift after gift to the Iranian regime. And now they have no incentive really to keep going, and could kick the can down the road indefinitely.
Josh, do you think we're ever going to make it to phase two, part two of this? I mean, the big question, as I was watching the vice president speak this morning, was, is any of this from the White House, from the president, from all of his allies who are trying to communicate around this with him? Is it coherent? I mean, even just taking the deconfliction cell that Ravi just described there. The U.S. and Iran agree to this, the idea facilitated by mediators to help ensure the end of these military operations in Lebanon. But Israel and Lebanon are not actually party to this agreement, which makes it seem all the more likely the whole thing could fall apart.
You've put your finger on a key problem with this arrangement, which is that while the U.S. and Iran have reached this tentative agreement, it's dependent on so many parties that are actually not part of the deal. Right. So the U.S. is expected to restrain the Israelis from attacking Lebanon, something that so far they've been unsuccessful in doing. They're supposed to convince the Gulf Arab countries to cough up all of this money to reconstruct Iran, which has been attacking those very countries for months. And the Iranians are expected to constrain Hezbollah in Lebanon, which ironically, they may actually have the most ability to actually follow through on that if they choose to do so. But it speaks to why this is so shaky, why it's already seeming to come apart a little bit at times with really the main issues between the two parties that are actually in this deal unresolved.